is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I, of course, am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having a great Saturday. My day is definitely off to a great start. I'm getting more and more excited at the thought that I will be at the link tomorrow. I really cannot wait. I know it's only open practice, but still very, very excited about that. So hopefully I get to meet up with some of you guys. I know some of you have reached out and definitely going to try to meet up. I'll let you guys know where I'm at. Going to be hanging out with some family, some of the guys from 4th and John, also family. So it's going to be a great time. I hope you guys got the chance to get some tickets. I think there's still tickets available. So make sure you get on in while you can, but very excited about that. So yeah, hope you guys are all having a great weekend. If you have any questions, comments you want to throw my way, please feel free to do so. I'm going to jump into this. We've got some notes from training camp today, day 9, getting it in with the pads now. Apparently today, not exactly the offense best day. So we're going to talk about that in a second, but a lot of people concerned. Once again, I'm not going to lose my mind because I think people overreact, whether it's good or bad, to certain things. There's definitely things you can read into, but um, a lot of these bad things are concerning. I'm just not going to give up hope over a training camp practice that, you know, let's just talk about it actually, because there's certain reasons why certain guys, we're doing certain things. Let's talk about it. Alex Singleton. He was actually back today. So some good news. Let's start her off right. A little bit of good news for you. I think that, obviously having him back, we need to see what's going on with the linebacker competition because we've got some injuries there to Davian Taylor, Jacoby Stevens. So that sucks. And then Avery was on there. So let's take a look at actually, this is great. So looking at the Eagles injury report for today, this is giving me flashbacks here that I do not enjoy. So as you can see, you got Graylin Arnold added, Jannard Avery, Sean Bradley was added, Obi Melanfonwu. The names I just said, though, all day today. So luckily, hopefully they're all right. But John Hightower, we were waiting to hear what the prognosis was there. Apparently a groin injury week to week. So we talked the other day about, adding a veteran receiver. And I think it was actually yesterday. But regardless, I think James Washington was a name we talked about, Kenny Stills. I think those guys are no-brainer picks to go after because we've got some injuries. Now, I love what Reagor and Devontae can bring, but who knows what's happening with their injuries. Devontae Smith, Michael Walker, and John Hightower now on that list. We'll see how we go through the preseason, but it's not necessarily something, like I said yesterday, that we have to go out and do. I'm not losing sleep over the fact that we don't have another receiver, but, the more the merrier in my mind. And if John Hightower is week to week, I don't know how serious that is. Is it going to be something that bothers him all season? Is he even going to make the team? So I like what we have in Quez Watkins, Greg Ward, Travis Fulgham. I'm not sure. So maybe you bring in some more competition. Maybe you don't. We'll see. But that's a lot of injuries there. But some of the other names up there are still up there. Kerrigan, Sayamalu, Stevens, Taylor, we mentioned earlier there, Kroom, and Brandon Brooks. So some day-to-days, but there are some week-to-weeks. And Sayamalu is the one that concerns me. But, Urbig has been starting last couple of days, but not today. So today you have Sua Opeta in at left guard. And then you had Dillard. They've been flip-flopping from Dillard and Mailata each day, just seeing, what these guys got, giving them the fair chance. And then I believe also Driscoll was starting at right guard because Brandon Brooks is still day-to-day. So when you're looking at the offense and people are losing their minds, it's like, well, it's reminiscent of last year when you don't have a healthy offensive line. These are the things that happen. So I just really hope that we stay healthy. It's just training camp. I know we're trying to keep guys healthy, so I just hope they're doing the right thing and everything gets worked out by the time the season starts. But that's wishful thinking. But this is a new staff. We talk about the different practices, the shorter practices, getting more done in those practices. I think that we're on the right track, but time will tell. So let's get into some of the notes from today. Thanks to Chris Franklin, Mike Kay, and Martin Frank. Those are the notes I got from today. So just go over quickly what was seen at practice from these guys, what they had throughout the day, tweeting and stuff. But at one point, the defense, I want to point out, had 5 straight pass breakups. Eric Wilson had an interception. Then they had Alex Singleton, who also almost had an interception, didn't get it. Anthony Harris with a pass breakup. Levert Hill had a pick 6 on Nick Mullins. And Matt Leo was seen on the sideline. So those were some of the notes I got from those guys. So that's good on defense, getting somebody else back on that pass rush. But I'm not sure he makes a team, but maybe a practice squad guy. Then you look at the offensive side of the ball. We talk about, 2 sacks for Josh Sweat. We can't miss that on the defensive side of the ball. We all know that Josh Sweat, I'm a big fan of, but he's been really stepping it up. I hope this is the year that he really, really gets a chance to shine. So love the fact that he's been stepping up, but he had 2 sacks in the first 4 plays. That's awesome to hear. Let's go, Josh Sweat. And then on the offensive side of the ball, have some notes here. Look, you can look at these guys' notes. I always try to retweet, tell you guys to check them out, but always take a few just things that stand out to me. Fulgham had a nice catch, and look, that's one of the only nice things they had to say. The Josh Tolentino and Mike Hay both had talked about that. And then Flacco to Killins was one where Killins beat Vandy Maddox. So, Killins is trying out for a receiver here. It was on a go route for a touchdown. So Killins trying to make the squad. We've got a lot of competition at wide receiver. That would be like 12 guys, considering Butler and he are now trying to be wide receivers. So we'll see how that plays out. But a lot of competition. So I don't know if we necessarily add one or we're going to stick with the young guys we have. So, hey, we'll find out. But then there were some notes from Michael Clay, the special teams guy. He talked about, the speed in the group. That's something obviously we know this team has. Let's be real here. But hitting the crease, seeing the ball, seeing the creases, seeing the lanes, being able to use the blockers, the returners, actually helping the blockers. They can both help each other. It's all 11 guys. He was putting an emphasis on that stuff. Then he said gunners are his baby. Those are his babies, dude. He really puts an emphasis on those guys. He talked about, you can't teach speed, but just playing, fast, regardless if you're a speedster or not, putting an emphasis on those gunners. I think we're going to have an emphasis on special teams, which I love. It starts between the ears, though, he said. I like that. You got to be smart on special teams, having that right mindset, having the right mindset when to tackle, when you got to force these guys into, taking the fair catch. So I really think that this is a guy that I'm going to like. I like all the coaches here. I think that they're younger and they know how this game is changing. And I love that he brought up like Maragos, Brayman, guys like that, where they really, I miss those days where our special teams could actually make plays. And you're like, damn, I can't go to the bathroom. They might actually block something. We might hit a 50-yard. And Jake Elliott could still do that, but he can't hit a 30-yarder. So there's concerns for me. I'm hoping this guy can get things ironed out. They asked him about the captain. He said that he would let that play out. It's tough for onside kicks. He was talking about, try to space people out the right way. You got to get the right bounce, but it's like Russian roulette because, it's ridiculous with the rules now, trying to get an onside kick. But it's for safety reasons. I get it. Then you talked about Huntley being, his explosiveness, his speed. That's hard to find. I really think this kid could make the team as the fifth running back. If we keep 5, he's really impressed. So if you can show out and show that you really can do things on offense too, which he has, he could definitely find a spot on the team. Then he said about the next couple of days, they're going to talk about who we can actually use on special teams in the preseason and in the regular season. So it'll be nice on certain situations. We know Devontae Smith was back there returning, so I'm sure he wants to try to get the ball in his hands any way he can, but we'll see what the other coaches say. He talks about the videos that Sirianni shows, different athletes, different teachers. It just might click with these guys, watching these few-minute videos, and hey, I'm all for whatever helps. And then he talks about Nuncio and Brown, the wealth in the staff, just guys that really know what they're talking about. So hopefully we can get the special teams on the right track. That would be great. But he said he's happy with Sippos. A little concerned we got no competition there. But he says he's been doing it all, holding, punting. But he's only getting better. And he said there's no one harder on himself than Sippos. So doing a really good job. And I hope he's not blowing smoke up our ass, which, he probably is. Or, regardless, what are they going to say, So hopefully they're working on that. I hope nothing but the best for this guy. So let's go special teams. We'll get a taste tomorrow when I'm there. I cannot wait. But then we got to hear from a few players. Boston Scott, man, really been impressing this offseason. So, man, he's definitely going to make the team. And we've talked about this, probably going to make the team because of his special teams. He's been getting offensive snaps, man. Screw that. It's not just special teams. So love to see that. Love to see him used in that Hines role we talked about with Kenny Gainwell. So going to be an explosive offense, I do believe. He talked about Huntley today, making a good catch. He's learning from his mistakes. So Huntley, man, I'm telling you, we could keep 5. You talk about it. It's either, for me, it's either Kerryon Johnson or Jordan Howard. I don't think you keep both of them. So Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Kerryon Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell, and then maybe Huntley. Not sure, but this kid sounds pretty impressive from everything I've read. But it's it's the off season. We'll see. We will definitely see. Then we'll talk about he said the slow start to the offense, and I think that everybody, like we just talked about, they know the offensive line. They're not using excuses, but dude, first off, it's just training camp. People are losing their minds. So after that, you have dude, means a lot to be praised by Sirianni, he said. And dude, I think obviously he's going to be a big part of this offense, bigger than I thought. I thought he could definitely be used, but this dude, he's getting better and better. He's still young, so let's see what he's got, and I'm excited for him. Then he said he's just trying to pay it forward like Sproles did with him. He's trying to help these younger guys. Love to hear these guys really just creating that brotherhood. And the older guys that did stick around, the veterans, they are helping these younger guys grow. So you love to see that. He talked about Hurts being a great motivator, stays in the present. I mean, we all know that, dude. He's a great leader. QB1, don't you dare get rid of him. I will lose my mind. But he talked about Hurts. And Hurts, man, there was a point today where, he had his first 4 throws were good and complete, and hey, everything's great. And then he threw an interception to Eric Wilson. Not so good. We mentioned that earlier. And then to start like the next 11 on 11s, I think Chris Franklin had wrote that he missed his first 4 throws, and then he ended making 3 out of 4. So that's good. But then we talked about, dude, he actually had a pretty decent amount to say here. He talked about great teams focus on fundamentals under pressure, and that's what they're doing. They're focusing on being consistent. And dude, I think these young guys and the veterans that are here, they're making a very nice connection together, and they're learning from these coaches. I think the coaches are good teachers. I'm getting excited, man. I really am. So then he talked about you had a good defense, man. That's one of the things that we've been missing. So hopefully this is just making them better. And when you're not having a good day, you go back to the film, and that's what they need to do. Learn, stick to the fundamentals, but learn what they're doing wrong. Then we got to hear from new safety Andrew Adams, who's back from COVID. He said it was hard to spend the offseason preparing and then not being able to practice because of COVID, but he's having the most fun ever now. He did have COVID, but he's feeling good. He had the vaccination, so he had minor symptoms. Good to go, and only had to miss a few days. Now he's back. Hopefully, he had a tackle for loss his first day back. He's going to help us a lot on special teams, but could help on defense. Hopefully, Rodney McLeod is healthy and ready. We shall see. But Andrew Adams, I like that addition. Big upgrade from Rudy Ford. So then he had to say he's anxious to prove himself to his teammates. He really likes the players and the coaches and the special teams. Of course, he's going to say that. The competition is high, though. And a lot of guys, they're going to have to make the teams for special teams, and we talk about how good some of these young guys are. Hey, we'll see who makes it, but it's going to be fun putting together, the 53-man projection and see who actually makes it, because there's a lot of talent, and we'll see if people can stand out on special teams. But he said there's an emphasis on the culture here with the players, the coaches. I love that. But he talked about his versatility. He's not just a special teams guy, and that's with a lot of these players. We talk about it at every position. And that was the emphasis of the offseason, and especially when we hit the draft, it was like, holy crap, look at these guys. They play inside, outside, whether it's on the defensive line with Milton Williams, Zach McPherson, Landon Dickerson. I mean, guard center. I mean, dude, these guys are all over the place. And Kenny Gainwell, he can play wide receiver, running back. I mean, you could go down the list. I mean, not all of them, but I'm just saying it's versatility. So you bring in a guy like Anthony Harris to replace Jalen Mills, who's very versatile, and he can play free safety, strong safety. So can Andrew Adams. And in this defense, you need to be like that. That's pretty much the emphasis we put on these guys. And they talk about Kayvon Wallace the other day, how they're teaching him up to, also be able to drop back in coverage and not just be that box safety. So I'm liking what I see so far, but I need to see it on the field, obviously. But hey, this is what this time is for. We're talking about it, going through it, and we'll actually get a little taste tomorrow. And then preseason's coming next week, for the love of God. Yes, I cannot wait. Yes. Yeah, and that was all from Andrew Adams. Then we got to hear from Steve Nelson. He wants to be referred to by Steve now, not Steven. But he said he was catching on. Apparently, today was his best day. He's feeling good. He understands what the coaches want, the players want, how to execute plays. And dude, I'm excited about him. When we talked about it, he just got here learning things. That's fine. I think he's going to be a great addition. And he's not some all pro corner, but he and Slay together, it's just much better for Avante to be inside, Zach McPherson to eventually learn inside. Right now, he's been learning outside, which is fine. That's why we wanted Steve Nelson here. So he can slowly work into things. Then he can learn nickel and he can be the nickel corner. I like Avante, but he needs to be used as your fourth, fifth defensive back. He can play free safety, nickel cornerback. It doesn't matter. But Steve Nelson, I like the addition. Glad that he's catching on. You talked about all the different looks. He really likes what Jonathan Gann is doing here. We all do. I'm very excited. We talked about the possibility of them doing that. They're already showing it in training camp. So sure enough, it's going to be a fun defense. He talked about having fun covering Fulgham today. He's big. He can run routes, and they've been helping each other. We talk about Fulgham having that huge game with him. Obviously, Wentz had a couple interceptions, not so great, but Fulgham did have his way a little bit. And Steve Nelson's good, but only a couple times did someone get him, and Fulgham was one of those guys. So nice to see them as teammates. And talking about old teammates, he's going to be playing his old teammates in the first preseason game against the Steelers. So excited for that game. And, I will be there. I cannot wait for that. But he talked about he's going to be there. And there's no, angst against them. He understood it was a cap decision, and he's going to, I'm sure, have fun, though, getting to see his old teammates. So very excited to have him, and I'm very grateful he's here. Now, Vandy Maddox, who we just mentioned, he was up next. He talked about he's very excited for tomorrow, getting to see the fans. We're all very excited. Everybody to back at the link. He's just trying to help people, be smart, do his thing for his family. He talked about getting vaccinated. And hey, that's good. That's awesome. I can't wait for this season to start. So hopefully everybody's safe, stays away, and does what they have to. I don't want any of that messing up what we got going on here with these young guys. And I've said it a million times. Don't get your hopes up here, but I've got very high hopes for this season when it comes to the excitement from watching them grow. I'm not looking for a Super Bowl here. I just want to see these young guys really develop, and I think we're building the right way. We've got 10 picks next year, and we've got so much effing cap money. It's like 60, could be 70, $80 million next year. Like, dude, yeah, get excited. I think we're building correctly. Any moves on the horizon? Nothing right now that's out there where it's definitely going to happen. But I talked about last night, possibly adding a Kenny Stills. Maybe you add James Washington via trade. He wants to be traded. There's a lot of options out there. Talked about some of the free agents. You could make some trades. You could add a linebacker like KJ Wright, I've mentioned. There's a lot of options. I know a lot of people want to talk about QBs and stuff. I want to see what Jalen Hurts has. That's the only move I would see would be receiver or linebacker. Everywhere else, I think, you've got good depth. And I like the depth at receiver. And honestly, at linebacker, I want to see what a lot of these young guys have. It's just the concerns with the injuries to both of those positions. When you're looking at, what was it? Michael Walker is the other guy compared to the two, main guys you want to see. Devontae Smith, we know what we have, but you want him out there. And then John Hightower. You really wanted to see if he could make the team, beat out Quez. If those two could both make it, what would happen there? It sucks. He's week to week. So that's unfortunate. So maybe you add someone. And then you talk about linebackers, Davian Taylor, Jacoby Stevens. I think those are your nickel linebackers, and they're out now. So that's not good. I don't know, man. We'll see. But hey, good question, Todd. And I think you have 17 plus million in cap space now that you restructured Lane Johnson and Derek Barnett. Let's find it here. Look, $17,823,031. Dude, that's a lot of cap space. You added, what was it, 14.041 million when they restructured those two guys. So, hey, man, I'm excited that we have space. I don't know if they want that to just carry over, but we talked about this. Maybe they want to make a mid-season move. Maybe there's nothing right now. And I did hear that there was nothing right now. So I did hear something, but there always could be something with Howie. It doesn't, so nothing imminent that I heard in the last couple of days. But hey, we got the money now. But yeah, we're getting thin, but it's preseason, so I'm trying to stay confident. But that's why there's a possibility, man. We talked about it last night, what the receiver room looks like. Killins has been working out there too, so you've got a lot of competition. Butler moving from tight end there, Killins from halfback to wide receiver, but Fulgham, Ward, Watkins, they got to show what they've got. Hightower being out, that's unfortunate. Arthega-Whiteside's got to step up, show if he's worthy of making the team. They brought in Andre Patton. We know he can help on special teams. And then Jamon Osmond has had a couple moments. But, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you added James Washington to that list, or maybe a vet like, Kenny Stills. I would really, I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't be against it at all. More competition, more talent. That's not going to take out anyone. I'm like, oh God, I can't sleep at night now. They're gone. I think Kenny Stills, you could keep the top 5 and him. If you want to have 6, I wouldn't even be mad. I wouldn't at all. So James Washington, either one of those two are the two I would take. One from trade, one from free agency. If I had to pick, just throwing that out there, because Washington's still on his rookie contract. We got a lot of money next year. If he wants to re-sign, he has a good year here. Fantastic. I mean, I think everybody's going to feast here if he would be here. Just think about that. Devontae Smith and Rager, your top 2. I think, Quez Watkins, Ward, Fulgham, they should all be able to get some. But if you had, Kenny Stills a little older, has some injury history, but I wouldn't be against that. I threw a name out there because people want to talk about that stuff. Then people get mad when you talk about it. I'm like, you guys throw those names out there. So it's like, I'm throwing the names I like. I'm showing you when I look through it. So you want to talk about adding somebody, it makes sense. So we're talking about those names, and I think, man, I wouldn't be against them, to be real with you. Now, getting back to what Vandy Maddox was saying, he talked about how it's good for the wide receivers and cornerbacks to both be interchangeable. So, practicing against each other in different situations, that's how the NFL is, man. And we'll see. And both those receivers I mentioned are interchangeable. So that's something, keep in mind. But he talked about Killins being quick and fast. It's like, yeah, you got burnt today in practice. So that's why. But he talked about it was cool that they chart the plays, but the defense has been winning. And I think this defense is actually looking pretty good. I'm excited. And he said he's only had preseason once and then not once. So they talked about, do you think you could do without it? And he was just like, I don't really know. I'll find out this year if it actually mattered. But he talked about he liked it because it's good for you. You get different players. You actually get some competition against other people. So I'm not totally for getting rid of it, but maybe just a game, half, whatever you figure out there. But I like it for the younger guys. I just think maybe, how they allow more people on the roster now. That's the smarter move. Allow the younger guys to play. You don't want any of the main guys to get hurt, but slippery slope because your depth could get hurt. So, yeah, we'll see what they do there. Then we had Marlon Tuipulotu step up to the plate, the defensive tackle, drafted in the 6th round, I do believe. But he said he's just trying to be a sponge, learn from these guys, Hargrave, Cox, everybody, T.Y. McGill, everybody, even Raekwon, and obviously Hassan Ridgeway. But then he said, everyone's been a great help. He just continues to listen, 1% better every day. All these players always emphasize that, and I love that. I truly do. He's just trying to, learn the speed and the technique in the NFL. It's obviously much quicker. He's just trying to help the team win in the preseason because he knows he's going to get some snaps. He needs to step it up. I haven't heard too much great things from him, but he's just trying to be consistent every play. So really thought he could help out in the run. And it's not like he can't go to the practice squad or something like that. But with the draft pick, you hope that they can turn out. But we've got some pretty good depth at defensive tackle. You talk about Cox and Hargrave, and then you drafted Milton Williams to play inside, outside, but you've got Ridgeway, T.Y. McGill, Raekwon Williams. So there's a lot of guys that are competing there with Marlon Tuipulotu. So we'll see how that works out for him. I'm not sure he makes this team, but we shall see. Then up next was good old Miles Sanders, dude. They asked him about the offense struggling, and he said, the defense is just pretty good. It's pretty good, and it made the offense look bad. And I don't think he was using it as an excuse, but that defense is, and you usually see the defense doing better in training camp, especially when it's a new system. The offense, it's just easier for the defensive players. The offense is falling apart, miscommunication, people lining up wrong, so there's so much. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen on defense too. It's just try not to read too much into it. I've seen articles, people freaking out that, it's over, season's over, the Eagles, and it's like, oh my God, like, do we even get to preseason? And even then, like, just take it all with a grain of salt, man. People wild out about that stuff. But he talked about he was pumped for open practice, it being filled up with people. I can't wait to be there, lose my voice. I'll be definitely meeting up with you guys that'll be there. I'll be taking videos, doing what I can. For those of you who can't, yeah, it's going to be awesome. But he talked about Boston Scott. He's goofy, but he leads by example, good leader. And I really love that he's stepping up and helping these young guys. He's been working on the jug machine because we all know the fumbles, drop catches. I think he led the NFL. That's not good. So work on that. That's great. But he wants to be, productive in all facets of the game. You can't, just be a running back, and all these other guys can do all of those things. We talk about being receivers, pass blocking, all this stuff. So step it up. Then he talked about he loves the practices. They're fun. They feel longer, even though they're shorter, but they're getting, I think, obviously it's more productive. And we talked about Doug, what the hell he was doing out there. I just, a lot of things I questioned, but it is what it is. And he talked about it's cool here with Nick because he has pop quizzes on the plays. I love that. He puts out the film in front of everyone. He calls you out. He holds everyone accountable, and that's what we've been begging for, right? So love that. But he said it keeps people on their toes and it keeps them locked in because they know Sirianni's watching. He's going to call you out. You better know your stuff. I love it. I truly love it. Building the good culture here, and I love that. And then he said he just wants to stay consistent, confident in himself like he was in his rookie year, be able to get his head around faster. And he's just working on things he knows he needs to work on, fumbling the ball, catching the ball, all that stuff, man. So the little things, the fundamentals, we keep talking about that. And I love these coaches stress that. So beautiful. And he says that he expects to see Sirianni have a plan, but they asked him, like, are you going to play in preseason? He's like, I expect him to have a plan and we'll see what that plan is. So maybe he gets a couple snaps. I'm not sure. You don't want to bang anybody up too much, but hey, let him get a few drives and I wouldn't be against it. Let this team this is a new system, new coaches, new. So, hey, I don't want to see anybody hurt, but this is football, dude. So got to knock that rust off at some point. I don't want to see it in the season. Everybody gets hurt. So we'll see what happens, but, he likes the different looks in practice, though. He likes the fact that, the defense and the offense, we talked about this when these guys were hired, that this is going to be young coaches with great minds. And I think we're seeing it already. And I can't wait. And in the preseason, you're not going to see too much. So don't lose your mind in these games. Like, I didn't see these great trick plays. It's like, dude, people just calm her down there. But we'll see. Defense has been winning every practice, Todd. That's what they've been saying. And, that's usually what you expect. And that's what it is. Your offense only gets better when your defense is that good. And we've been lacking that, dude. So everyone's being held accountable. The defense is actually beating some ass. That's what I want to hear. Like, I want this team to be pumped up, and people could sleep on this team, whatever. But the players, they're not sleeping, dude. They are hungry. And it's a lot of young players learning from some good vets. We kept the right amount of vets around, the ones that restructured. And dude, I think Howie did a good job. And now look at the money we have. Dude, we talked about this in the offseason. I'm very excited right now for this season and the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. And a lot of it just depends on Jalen Hurts, right? And I'm aware of that, but hey, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in. Jalen Hurts, QB1. Let's go. Pro Bowler. Take us to the NFC Championship. And then, we'll surprise some people. We'll go from there. But dude, this team, offensive line needs to stay healthy, but we're going to run the effing ball, which we haven't done. The defense is actually going to attack. It's going to look exciting. I think that this team is going to surprise a lot of people. Emphasis on special teams. Put an emphasis on special teams at the beginning of this video. So I love it, dude. It's all three facets of the game. So let's go Birds. But that was all that went down today. I hope you enjoyed the notes from today. We're getting closer now. I will not be back with notes from tomorrow. I will just be making videos and posts from the link. I'll be there. If you're going to be there, reach out to me. Please let me know. You can reach out to me on any of these platforms. Appreciate you checking me out on those platforms, following, liking stuff, retweeting, subscribing, whatever you're doing to support me. I truly do appreciate you all. I hope you're all having a great weekend. I really cannot wait to be at the link tomorrow. I hope to see you guys there. Oh, my God. Stay safe, guys. I will see you tomorrow. And as always, go Birds!